a lot of the guys will go into a little bit of a rest period after this last game of this coming weekend. But but just on my personal capacity, I think I'm all good. I'm ready to go, and I'm looking forward to a really big match this coming weekend.
Andrew?
Duane, I was just wondering, obviously there's been a lot of talk about Rugby World Cup final 2019 in the media, at least. Has that been talked about in the squad at all?
Andrew, I think probably maybe just a little bit. We've just had a look at how how we played, how England played, and obviously if things have changed during the past couple of years, but obviously there's been the COVID situation, so it's not a lot to look at, but that's I suppose that's the only thing. That's the past, or that's in the past now. So obviously you got to stay in the now and look to the present. So I think we can only work on what we have and what we've seen so far, and then we'll take it from there. But not really a big motivator for us. If you have to look back to the past, so we can only stay in the now.
Okay, if I could just ask a follow-up question, Duane. Players and coaches always talk about how important the training week is. Joe Marler for England doesn't get out of COVID quarantine until Friday. England are still saying, though, that he's being considered for the game. How difficult would it be for him to even be a replacement on Saturday with just a captain's run under his belt this week?
I think if I'm not mistaken, I think our South African squad did it against Georgia, didn't it?
Yeah.
So the guys were obviously in lockdown because or before they played at the SAA team. So the guys had to stay in the hotel, could only get out, obviously on the Friday to do their captain's run and things like that. So yeah, I think obviously it's got a major effect on you, but as an individual, it's maybe a little bit different than opposed to a bigger group of guys. And that's more or less your core. So if you fit enough, Joe and being Joe Marler, he's a good scrummager and a guy like that, and he loves a bit of banter on the field. So he'll always be in his place and happy where he is, even if he's starting or sitting on the bench.
Ross?
Thanks, Sina. How's it, guys? Duane, obviously you've got great memories of playing England, Man of the Match award in that 2019 final. So are you really looking forward to coming up again against them this weekend? And secondly, are you expecting quite a good loose forward battle with them this weekend? Do you think it's going to be quite a physical one?
Yes, obviously. I think if you look at Curry and Underhill, they played in 2019, and Courtney Laws was also the other flanker or loose forward they had. So coming up against those guys, they're really good at the breakdown, and it's going to be a difficult task for us. In the form that they are is great to see, and it'll be a great battle for us. And we for us as a loose forward trio, we trying to keep it simple, try to play as consistent as we can, and keep building on what we did during the week and how we performed the previous week.
Daniel?
How's it, guys? Question for you, Duane. In the Chasing the Sun documentary, your relationship with Matt Proudfoot was... oh, sorry, can you hear me? I was having poor signals yesterday. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. In the Chasing the Sun doc, your relationship with Matt, was quite special. I wonder if there's a sense of a bittersweet feeling confronting him, and will his presence maybe force you guys to think of something unique that even he won't see coming?
Yeah, we shared a lot of special things. He knows my whole history from growing up and things like that. We worked, back in Western Province and the Stormers together. So we've known each other for quite some time, and obviously you build good relationships. I think obviously you'll be playing. Against the players he coached, not coming up against him. So there might be a trick or two in up our sleeves. There might be a trick or two, up England's sleeves. We don't know. We can only see that on the day. But obviously he knows me personally and knows my way of thinking, and obviously what I'm playing for and what I stand for as a person. So you never know what's coming.
Nick,
Right.
hi, you can ask your question.
Thanks, Zina. Hi guys, hope you're well. Duane, just actually wanted to ask, during the British Lions tour and the build-up, when you weren't available, a couple of people were very intrigued, when the designated guy to replace you was Kwagga, actually at number 8. And Jock Nienaber actually made a very valid explanation, that Kwagga basically brings almost like the same attributes and style of play, like you do at number 8. But I was just wondering how have you felt, playing with him? I mean, I know Sia pretty well, but now with Kwagga also dovetailing with you guys, just how have you experienced his growth as an international player, because he's really settled in that blindside role?
Losing Peter Steff is a big thing for us, and then obviously there has to be a guy that steps into that spot and that fills that role. So obviously, Jock and them tried Franco Mostert, who's also playing sometimes in the blind side and also double up as lock. And then obviously tried with Kwagga, and he really took his chance. He's a good runner with the ball. He's quick at the breakdowns. That if you don't have Kwagga and you have Peter Steff, you're losing out on a guy that also plays a bit to the breakdown. So it's good to have him on the pitch, and he does a hell of a lot of work rate on and off the ball. So it's really good to be playing with him, and his combo with Sia is they really playing well together. And then obviously I'm a little bit more tighter with a tight 5 where I'm playing, and but it's been great, and obviously the guys who's backing us up. We've got a strong group of loose trios that can also fill those spots if need be, and if we get an injury.
Duane, I was just wondering what the squad's reaction was to the news back home today about Jannie du Plessis, and are you planning any kind of tribute at the weekend?
Andrew, I think we didn't really discuss it as a squad. I woke up this morning, receiving a message from my missus saying, "Listen, this is what happened back home." So, obviously, they'll be, as a family, they'll be in the back of our minds, and all our condolences to Jannie and his family back home. I know it's a difficult time for them, and we'll stand behind them and support them from as individuals, and then obviously we'll sit down maybe if needs be and do something for him. But this coming weekend is it's all about the game. We can always do something special for them a little bit later.
Thank you.
Mike?
Hi guys, sorry about that. Good to see. It's a question for Duane. Obviously, last time you played England, you're up against Billy Vunipolos, your sort of direct opposite number. That's not going to be the case this weekend. I just wondered what you make of the likes of Tom Curry, Sam Simmons, Alex Dombrandt. They're sort of different sorts of players, lighter sort of players. Is there a different challenge playing them? And has your game had to change at all over the past couple of years with rule changes and things? Have you developed your game in any way?
Yeah, Mike. obviously Curry is a massive nuisance at the ruck, and he's really good at his job, and he does really well. You know, I haven't come up against Simmons really and Dombrand. You know, I've only watched some of their games, and they, you know, when they play for their clubs, and they're really outstanding players for their clubs, and you know, it's good to see the guys, you know, who's lifting up their hands, getting an opportunity to play international. So, you know, there's a lot of a good, skillful back rowers that in the England squad, and obviously it's going to be really difficult for us. But yeah, thinking about it, you know, changing your game a little bit. You know, you have to adapt to the new rules here. You know, it kind of feels like every year there's a whole bunch of new rules that comes out. So obviously, you've got to adapt a little bit, but you know, sometimes you say the more it changes, the more it stays the same. So obviously, a breakdown will always be a breakdown, and if you can make a massive nuisance of yourself at the breakdown, you know, it really puts a team a bit on the back foot.
And then we'll take our last English question before we switch over to Afrikaans, and that will be Craig Lewis.
Thanks, Lee. Just a quick one for Duane, just elaborating a little bit on what you've already spoken on, but just in terms of looking at England, how much do you think they've evolved over the last couple of years since the World Cup final, and how different will the challenge be to what you faced against Scotland and Wales?
Cheers, Craig. It's actually a difficult one. So obviously, you know, we've seen a couple of games, but you know, we've seen some of the games against Tier 1 nations. We've seen a lot of games against Tier 2 nations, and you know, it's a little bit different. They play a little bit different if they, you know, if the game opens up a bit. But obviously, you know, you will always play to your strengths. But I must say they've gotten in a lot of new guys that brings a bit of more excitement to the game. If you talk about in the forwards, back rowers, you know, some of the backline players. So it's you know, it's nice to see them also using the guys who are on form. But yeah, I think, you know, Test match rugby is Test match rugby, and a lot of guys, if you knew going into Test match rugby, you know, it might shock you a bit because it's a whole different thing than playing club level. But you know, if you get an opportunity, you got to play, and I think yeah, we'll see what we're going to get on Saturday. But obviously, it's a team with a lot of skill, a lot of pace, and you know, that really backs themselves. So yeah, we have to be wary of who we're facing, and as individuals, and then obviously them playing well as a team.
That concludes the English section of our press conference. So our international media, you are more than welcome to remain on the call, but you can also log off if you'd like. And then first question in Afrikaans, we will go to Leighton.
Dankie Zina. Hallo Duane, hi Damien. Ek gaan vir Duane vra. Duane, net met betrekking tot verlede Saterdag se wedstryd, daai eerste openingsminute waar hulle absoluut druk op Skotland gesit het, maar nie daai punte kon aanteken nie. Was daar gesprek dat Engeland dalk 'n perd van 'n ander kleur kan wees waar julle moet daai geleenthede gebruik indien julle uiteindelik suksesvol in die wedstryd wil wees?
Ja, kyk, ek moet sê daai eerste tyd wat ons gespeel het, ek dink die eerste sequence in die game teen Skotland was seker 4 minute balance ball in play, balansspel. So dit was, jy weet, dit het eintlik baie goed gepas by Skotland se styl van hoe hulle speel en so aan. En dit het ons manne ook so 'n bietjie half geskok, maar ook na 'n tydjie gesien, hoor jy, ons kan eintlik hierdie game speel. Maar ja, dit is soos wat jy sê, ek dink as 'n ou geleentheid kry binne 'n span se 22 en dan moet jy raai in punte omdraai. So Ek moet sê ons het 'n paar definitief 'n paar geleenthede jy weet verloor en nie gebruik van gemaak nie, maar jy weet ons het daaroor gepraat en ook gesê hoor hierso Engeland gee jou nie geleenthede in hulle 22 nie. So as ons dit kry gaan ons dit definitief moet gebruik.
Percy?
Baie dankie Zena. Good afternoon. I'm Duane. Good afternoon. I'm Duane. Duane, ek wil net vir nog 'n vraag sê gou vir my is hierdie naweek naweek 'n eindstryd vir julle? En die tweede deel van my vraag dan is hoe
Ekskuus, daar's net iemand van Afrikaans praat wat
Ja, maar Duane, ek vra net wat is julle benadering vir hierdie naweek se wedstryd? Is hierdie naweek 'n eindstryd vir julle? En hoe verskil die benadering van 'n wedstryd teen Engeland byvoorbeeld soos 'n wedstryd teen die All Blacks? Is daar die intensiteit net so groot nie?
Dus ja, ek dink 'n eindstryd speel mens gewoonlik in kompetisies. So as 'n ou sê nou maar soos 'n World Cup of so iets kan speel, dan speel mense 'n eindstryd of jy speel vir 'n beker. Ek dink vir hierdie ding gaan dit eintlik maar net oor 'n ou se, jy weet 'n ou se pride. So jy weet ons wil die jaar goed afeindig. Engeland wil die jaar vir hulle goed afeindig. So dit is ouens met twee spanne met 'n groot doel en jy weet wil 'n ding op 'n goeie noot afeindig en dan en dis hoe ek oor voel. Dis net my persoonlike opinie. En dan ja, jou tweede gedeelte van die vraag is?
Ek probeer net verstaan, as gewoonlik in my klein bietjie ervaring, as daar voorbereiding gemaak word vir 'n wedstryd in die All Blacks, dan is die benadering heeltemal anders in julle kamp. Is daai selfde intensiteit nou vir hierdie naweek se wedstryd in Engeland?
Ja, ek moet sê ek dink soos die week begin het, dink ek het dit nogal so begin. Ek dink almal is aangeswitch, ek dink ons het die coaches het 'n goeie plan aan ons verkoop en gesê hoor hierso dit is wat ons graag wil doen en ons het doelwitte gestel. So ek dink hierdie is definitief vir ons ook baie belangrik en soos wat ek vroeër gesê het, ons wil die jaar op 'n goeie noot afsluit. So ek dink die intensiteit is daar. Ek dink die fokus is daar en almal is jy weet half mentally ingestel op wat lê voor en jy weet en wat ons moet doen om hopelik suksesvol daar uit te loop.
Sien ek
Kan ons dit van Steven toe gaan Percy daar
as reg sien naby.
Dankie Zena. Duane, ek sal waardeer asseblief indien jy net jou medelee vir die Du Plessis gesin in Afrikaans kan verwoord. En dan tweedens net die man aan jou regterkant, jy weet mense het dis seker nou dit raak in julle DNS as 'n span, maar jy weet groot spelers vir groot oomblikke en so aan. Kan jy net verwoord wat jy dink Duane vir die span doen en sy ontwikkeling as 'n speler?
Ja, Steven, ek dink nee. Ja, Steven, ek dink ja, ek dink meeste van die ouens weet nou wat jy weet hierso in die kamp wat gebeur het met die Du Plessis gesin en jy weet dit is sleg om in die oggend wakker te word en jy kry 'n boodskap van jou vrou of familielid wat sê hoor hierso dit is die slegte nuus wat daar rondloop. So jy weet ons is jy weet ons staan saam met hulle as individue. Ons is hier saam met hulle as 'n span en ons ondersteun hulle en waar deur hulle gaan as die hele Du Plessis gesin en familie en jy weet en ons het alle respek vir hulle en ons hoop regtig jy weet dat hulle deur hierdie ding sal kom. Ek weet dit is tragies en ek dink ek weet nie hoe 'n ou voel na so verlies nie, maar ek glo dat jy weet deur die Here se genade sal hulle as 'n gesin bymekaar trek en deur hierdie hele proses werk. So jy weet ons is almal daar vir hulle en ons almal ondersteun hulle van hierdie kant af as 'n Springbok groep en jy weet as 'n Springbokke. En dan ja, ek dink as jy praat van Damien, yes, ons kan nou eintlik regtig dink baie jare terug was hy 'n UCT mannetjie wat hy Jy weet daarso by die Stormers kom oefen het en ons moes sulke sakke vashou en hy moes die sakke duik en ek was nou die ongelukkige ou wat die sak vasgehou het en toe hy die tackle maak, toe sê gaan ek na Jacques Nienaber toe sê ek vir hom, hierso hierdie ouetjie moet ons teken. Want hy kan nogals tackle, want ons hele stelsel by die Stormers daai tyd was gebaseer jy weet oor defense. En ek dink hulle het eers 2 keer daaroor gedink en toe het hy in die Stormersgroep ingekom en dit was 'n paar jaar later toe hy in die Bokgroep en van daai ouetjie af wat ek gesien het van UCT af tot waar hy nou is, het hy regtig ongelooflik baie gegroei. Nie net as 'n speler nie, maar as 'n goeie leier in die groep. Ek dink hy het baie ervaring en ek dink hy en Lucanio en Andre hulle en Elton hulle almal saam. Daar's 'n goeie kombinasie met almal en die kommunikasie is fantasties wat jy daar sien. Jy weet die ouens is glad nie gerattel nie. Hulle is baie composed in hulle approach tot die game en jy weet dit is lekker om te sien as die manne na jou toe kom en hulle kom op met idees en sien wat hulle na die tafel toe bring. Ek bedoel sy spel praat van self. Ek dink hy is 'n ou wat regtig baie hoef te praat nie, maar binne die groep doen hy wel en ja, dit is fantasties om te sien hoe hy gegroei het as 'n speler en ek glo daar's nog baie dinge wat vir hom vorentoe in die toekoms lê.